Hello and welcome to Chapter 8, Section 1 Notes, Combined and Joint Variation. This is Part 2 of Chapter 8, Section 1 Notes. So today, we're actually going to learn about combined variation and joint variation. Combined variation is when you have multiple types of variation, so direct variation and inverse variation in the same problem. Joint variation means that you have two numbers multiplied together. So it's just multiplication. So it's direct variation multiple times. So, let's look at example 1. If A varies jointly as B and C and inversely as the square of D, and A equals 120 when B equals 5, C equals 2, and D equals 9, find A when B equals 12, C equals 9, and D equals 9. So we go step by step. A varies. A varies means that A equals. That's where you start. And A always equals K. Jointly as B and C. All that means is that you're multiplying B and C. So it just means we have two direct variations. That's all. And inversely as the square of D. That means we have to square D. Now we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing when we just did inverse variation. And we're going to plug in A, B, C, and D to find K. Well, if I plug in A, B, C, and D, 120 is A. We have K. B is 5. C is 2. And D is 9. So this is what we're solving. So that means 120 equals 10K over 81. We multiply both sides by 81. So that 1640 equals 10K, which means K equals 164. That means our equation is A equals 164 BC over D squared. Right, and I did that just by taking 164 and plugging it in for K right there. Well, if I then want to find A when B equals 12, C equals 9, and D equals 9, all I would do is plug them in. So A equals 164 times 12 times 9 divided by 9 squared, and that ends up being 1296. And that's A. Let me do another one. In example 2, y varies directly as x and inversely as z. Well, y varies means y equals k. Directly as x means x is going in the top because it's multiplication, and inversely as z means z is going into the bottom because that's division. Now we plug numbers in because we need to find k. So 22 equals 4k over 6. Well, if we multiply both sides by 6, that means 132 equals 4k. Divide by 4, and k equals 33. Which means that our equation is y equals 33x over z. So now if I plug in x and z that they give me, which are 10 and 25, y equals 33 times 10 divided by 25, which equals 66 over 5. And that's the answer. Let's do one more, just for good measure. And this one's a little different, just a tiny bit. It just has more symbols. If P varies directly as the square of Q and inversely as the square root of R. So P varies, that means P equals K. Directly as the square of Q, that means we have to square Q, and it goes in the top because it's directly. And inversely, which means we have to do a denominator, as the square root of R. So the square root of R. And they give us all the numbers. They tell us that P equals 60. We still have K. When Q equals 6, so 6 squared over the square root of 81. And we're finding K. Well, that means 60 equals K times 36 over 9, which means that if we multiply by 9 and divide by 36, K ends up equaling 15. Well, that means that the equation is P equals 15 Q squared divided by the square root of R, and we can plug in 8 and 144. So P equals 15 times 8 squared divided by the square root of 144, which is just 12, and that ends up being 80. That's the answer, and that's all we're doing. Have a great day.